Just wanted to give out a huge thanks to Sega for providing me a copy of this game to review for you guys. We all know what Tetris is, right? Tetris is a very complex puzzle game that released way back in 1984. In Tetris, your main goal was to match the falling shapes, aka tetrominos, in order to make full rows across the board. As you create full rows, you achieve points. If you manage to clear up 4 rows at once, that's called the Tetris, which is where the name of the game comes from.
Puyo Puyo Tetris 2!
Now what's Puyo Puyo? My earliest experience with Puyo Puyo were in, of course, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and more recently that one boss battle in Sonic Mania. In Puyo Puyo there are 5 different main colors. To clear out your board, you must drop the colors on top of one another, and when you match 4 of one color, that clears out that bunch. It seems rather simple, right? Well, it is a lot more in-depth than that. In Puyo Puyo, you must strategically plan every drop of Puyos you get, that way you can chain them up together and clear out multiple colors at one time. It's extremely difficult, but very satisfying when you manage to chain more than 2 colors. Don't worry, if you're new to either of these, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 provides lessons that teaches beginners, intermediate players, and advanced players techniques and how to play. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is the sequel to Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's fairly similar to its predecessor, meaning it has almost all game modes from the original making a return. Adventure mode is the story mode of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. In the story, the iconic cast teams up together to help discover how and why the worlds of Puyo Puyo and Tetris are merging together. Meaning while you play, you will be switching between the 2 playstyles. You have about 90 levels to play through, all ranging in difficulties and play modes. On every level in adventure mode, you can get 3 stars. How good you do on the level depends on how many stars you will receive. This increases the replayability highly by urging you to want to go back and get 3 stars on almost every single level to try and beat your previous score, and it'll just look satisfying to see all those gold stars fill up the map. Some levels do get quite challenging, but don't worry, you do have the option to skip over levels and come back to them later when your skill has improved.
First things first, we must find others who are willing to help us.
Good thing.
The main attraction of this game is the new playstyle introduced called Skill Battle. Skill Battle is very unique as it incorporates RPG elements used to make your team of 3 characters stronger. You unlock item cards, each with their own individual and unique stats, and use them to boost your team's HP, MP, attack power, defense, and recovery. You can unlock item cards by playing through adventure mode. You are given an HP meter, meaning that whoever loses all their HP first is the loser. Each of your 3 characters have unique abilities to use during the round, ranging from HP recovery to even giving you the tetrominos necessary to make a Tetris. It's a very challenging mode, that's for sure. But that's what makes it fun and makes you eager to find better skill cards to power up your team. The rest of the game modes make a return from the first game, including Versus mode, which is self-explanatory. You go against an opponent using either Puyos or Tetris, and whoever scores the most points wins. Or you can do an Endurance mode that goes on for as long as you can last. Swap is a mode where you're given 2 game boards, one for Tetris and the other for Puyo Puyo. You and your opponent face off and attack each other by scoring points. The catch is, every roughly 20 seconds you swap between boards. If you lose on one board, you lose the entire game. So you could be doing very well in your Tetris board, but absolutely horribly on your Puyo board. And if you end up losing on your Puyo board, then you're pretty much done. It's a pretty challenging game mode, but it's probably my favorite out of all of them. Party mode is intense as it adds special blocks to the board that when activated are used to benefit you by hindering your opponent. There are many different types of power-ups and even attacks to use against your opponent. There is a flashlight block that creates a moving spotlight across the opponent's board that prevents them from seeing where they are going to place their blocks. A fast fall block that forces the opponent's blocks to fall instantly, blocks that deflect oncoming attacks, and many more. This mode provides for a lot of entertainment as it's fun watching your opponent struggle against all your oncoming attacks. Fusion mode is, without a doubt, the hardest mode out of all of them. Fusion mode incorporates both Puyos and Tetrominos all in one board. Having to meticulously plan where to place your Puyos while also having to place your Tetrominos in a good place is what I fail to do. The board ends up getting too cluttered and I lose track of what I'm doing. Personally, it's not my favorite, but I can understand why skillful players would find it a lot of fun. As you drop Tetrominos down on your board, the Puyos will then disappear and reappear back at the top of the board and fall right back on top of your Tetrominos. It's quite confusing to try and plan where you're going to drop things, because it's kind of a whole different kind of play style, and I'm just not big-brained enough to play it. Finally comes the Big Bang mode, which is without a doubt another one of my favorites. In Big Bang mode, you face off against your opponent, choosing to play Tetris or Puyo Puyo. Depending on which you choose, your board is already filled up with meticulously placed Tetrominos and Puyos, where it would require just a few placements to clear the board. The person who manages to clear the most boards and get the most points within the time limit attacks the player or players with less points. Watching that Tetromino or Puyo fit into where it belongs to clear the board is the greatest feeling. I feel that playing with Puyos in this mode, at least for me, is more challenging as it requires more of a thought process to figure out where you are going to place the Puyos to make a perfect chain, and to clear the board. I just can't do it as well as I do with Tetris. All of these modes I mentioned can be played in both solo and multiplayer. There are special solo exclusive challenges that allow for way more replayability, and they also challenge your skills in both Puyo and Tetris. For Puyo, they have Endless Fever, which is essentially a single player Big Bang mode, Endless Puyo, where you go on for as long as you can without failing, and Tiny Puyo, which is self-explanatory. For Tetris, there is Sprint mode, which challenges you to see how fast you can clear 40 lines, Marathon mode, which has you clear 150 lines with the most points you can get, and finally Ultra mode, which times you 3 minutes to see the highest score you can get in that time. These modes are fun, as whenever you play them, you always want to just beat your score to see how much you've improved over time. Finally, there is online play. In online play, you can create lobbies to play games with your own specific rule sets. There's Puzzle League, where you compete in tournaments to rank and place on the leaderboards, and there are also replays, where you can watch playbacks of your saved games. Overall, I would definitely recommend this game to anyone who is a fan of any type of puzzle game. I believe this game has something for everyone. Newbies will easily find this game loads of fun, as well as longtime Puyo or Tetris veterans. I had a blast with the game and think it's a fantastic party game for gatherings, as the games can get completely bizarre and out of hand quickly, leading in a fun, eventful moment. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 launches on December 8th, 2020 on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, the Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and early 2021 for Steam. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm TheOriginalGamer, and I will see you guys next time.